You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your healthcare? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their healthcare. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your healthcare, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your healthcare while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
At St. Jude, our family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
Happy Friday Eve, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rick Robinson coming to you live right now from KLRNradio.com. You are listening to the Jen and Rick Show. It's been a bit, but we are back. We are live. Miss Jen is here with me, and we have lots of stuff to talk about, including the fact that, first of all, I have a new @ so hoping I don't forget that tonight. It's at, what is it now?
Rick on the air, is that right? Or
no,
Rick on air?
That was what I was going to go with, but that was too close to Don on the air, so I didn't want to step on his toes since he grabbed it before I did. So it's actually, I believe it is Radio Host Rick was what I landed on.
Radio Host Rick, yeah, that's right.
That's what it is. A couple of different reasons. First of all, I do more than just America Off the Rails. Second of all, I have a new part-time gig, and they didn't think it would be a good idea for me to be giving out a show-specific tag since I'm going to be filling in on other people's shows on KOKC 1520 AM zone. So at least this way I can give out my own social media content without them going, why are we letting somebody promote another show while they're on this show?
Exactly. That sounds pretty reasonable.
So lots of things going on, lots of stuff in the news. We were actually talking during the commercial break, and you guys have had an article go completely nuts over there on Misfit Politics. So just in case people don't know what's going on over there, why don't you take a second to fill them in since it's been a bit since we've been able to be on the air.
Yeah, sure. So we have a regular contributor, Chad Felix Green at Chad Felix G on Twitter. A lot of people that have been around the Twitterverse, for the conservative Twitterverse, and even some of the liberal Twitterverse, have known him for a while because he is a little unique. He's a gay conservative Jew. So he kind of comes from things from multiple perspectives that aren't always typical or you don't always hear about. So it's been really great to have him as a part of Misfits Politics and offering his unique perspective. One of the things that he really is passionate about is talking about some of the harmful sides and the darker hush-hush sides of the sexual aspect and sexual grooming of young gay men. And so he wrote a piece called Teen Adult Sex, What Every Parent Should Know. And it talks about how we've normalized sexuality and we've even kind of promoted teenage sexuality, or at the very least condoned it and said, oh, it's better to do this because they need to be safe, and let's just let the cat out of the bag and, make sure everybody's just being good with it. And the problem is that as hard as you try, that's not always the case. And especially with the online world, when he was younger was when there were AOL chat rooms and people were first really connecting online. And so he tells his tale of warning about, internet hookups and meeting people and that not knowing who they are. And this was such a part of the youth gay culture during that time when this was starting. And a lot of times you'd show up and it would be a much, much older man. And so the perils he went through, the personal struggles he went through, dealing with that world, but then also being a young, immature person, the importance he placed on those experiences and on those interactions as, mistaking them for true affection and for love. And when that one didn't work and that person left him in the dust, then it was like every single one was like one around the corner. And it kind of becomes an addiction because for at least a brief moment, you feel connected to somebody else. You feel important, you feel loved, you feel, sexy, whatever it is. And so even though his experience is about, that is relating to also his homosexuality, he does touch on that this doesn't have to purely be a plight of young homosexuals. Also, we all know some of the horror stories of young girls that have met older men online, and how many did they meet before it was the wrong one who decided to take, actual physical advantage of them to a point of no return. So he talks about how he felt, and then how he was able to come out of it. And so now he is an advocate against this kind of thing because, he said when we dumb down and when we dumb down sexual experience and when we legitimize teenage sex, whether it's between adults or even between teens, this kind of meaningless, careless sex, it is very dangerous. And that people at this age and with these mindsets, they do not know how to process that. They don't know how to handle that. It's not just about, can they physically do it? And did they like the person? And are they okay with it? Well, sometimes they are okay with it, but the scars are very slow to form. And not always, but sometimes they can be very slow to form. And it can be a long time before someone realizes that actually was psychologically damaging. And, he talks about not being able to having a hard time with normal relationships, having a hard time connecting with people beyond just that initial rush of lust and passion and, sexual encounter. And so, and just how depressing it can be. It led him to attempt suicide several times. And luckily he has pretty much moved past that, but he doesn't like the rationalizing any type of teen to adult sex, even if someone was just, 4 or 5 years older. Some people might go, well, whatever, it was 21 versus 16. No, that's still an adult and a teenager and a child who lives with their parents and should be protected and valued. And he really does feel like there has been, unfortunately, kind of a problem in the LGBT community with this, with not acknowledging it and with not speaking out against it, because they would rather shift the blame to things like, well, had he been accepted at school, had he been able to come out, had he been accepted with his family, if his church or synagogue had not been hard on him, or if he wasn't scared that they might be homophobic, then all these things, then he wouldn't have had to go meet these men online. And so they kind of excuse a lot of these behaviors by wrapping it up in a nice little homophobic bow. And he's saying that that's not fair, and that's not a valid excuse. And so my favorite thing, though, that he says, I'm not one to wallow in self-pity or allow life situations to excuse choices or behaviors. I grew up, built a life, overcame my emotional and intellectual insecurities and fears, and learned to validate myself over time. I am not a victim, but I am an example. I think that's so awesome. And I think it's so empowering to take away from that, I might have been victimized, but I have taken my life back, and I am not a victim, but I am an example. I am a warning. And I think all parents and all teenagers should read this and should know. It's just my experience. It is, anecdotal to a certain extent, but he's known. He's been, so many people have reached out to him and said, "Oh my gosh, thank you for writing this. It happened to me too, and I never could have stood up." And there's a tendency to kind of, brush off guys that talk negatively about sexual experiences as a teen, particularly young gay men, because part of that culture, unfortunately, for quite a while had been grooming, which is an older gay man grooming a younger gay man to become a part of this lifestyle and this culture. And he talks about how, everybody should be aware of this. This isn't just, it's not just a one kind of person problem, and it may vary in different ways in which people are affected or what happens with it. It's not an abstinence preaching thing. It's not an anti-sex thing at all, but he is just warning of the dangers of these risky behaviors that can just breed all sorts of resentment, self-loathing, and other kinds of problems that unfortunately for too many result in suicide. And he's thankful that he did not succumb. He was not successful in his attempts and is now here to tell the tale. So it's been really cool to see the feedback he's getting, people pouring their hearts out to him. I'm so glad that we could be a vessel for him to put out his message. And there's been a lot of prominent people on the right that have shared it. Guy Benson, for one, Kurt Schlichter did, and everybody that does says, wow, this was a tough read, but it wasn't graphic, so it got the point across without being too gross or anything like that. But how powerful, how brave you are, and thank God that you're still here and that you're able to persevere and overcome. It's just, it's inspiring. As sad as it is that he had to go through this in his life, it's absolutely inspiring what he is turning it into.
It really is an inspiring story, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure that we mentioned it here. Also, it interestingly, we're going to take things international for a second, but it kind of dovetails into one of the first topics that I wanted to bring up. Alarmed by Islam, Europe's gays are moving to the right. This is an article that I just saw put out. Actually, I just saw it, but it looks like it's been out since the 20th. For decades in both America and Europe, the gay establishment, gay magazines, gay rights organizations, and self-designated gay leaders have been dictating politics to the gay multitudes. Those politics have been consistently left-wing and democratic. Not all gays have played follow the leader, however, but most have. So in that vein, in 2016, the U.S. presidential elections, Hillary Clinton won a far larger percentage, actually, of the gay vote than Donald Trump. Even though Hillary had opposed same-sex marriage until 2013, had taken millions of dollars from governments that execute homosexuals, and was married to the man who actually signed the Defense of Marriage Act, the gay mafia had managed to depict her as gay-friendly while depicting Donald Trump, a longtime gay marriage supporter, as an enemy of gay rights. So then it kind of goes on a little bit further down, and then, somebody, starts talking about what's been going on in Europe, and it says, even more perverse than that, official gay take on Trump versus Clinton is the official gay party line on Islam. To get a good picture of this party line, all you need to do is glance through the archives of The Advocate, a gay news magazine. Islam is not intrinsically homophobic. That was written by Trudy Ring in 2013. And then, of course, it goes on to talk about all the things that they're going through in Europe right now as more and more Muslims are showing up there, and they're actually having to start dealing with some of the things that we've been warning people that were going to start happening if they became more and more prevalent. So because of that, and because of, I'm sorry, there's no other way to put it, a religion that, or not only a religion, but a governmental founding that is so diametrically opposed to their way of life that they're willing to kill them for it. A lot of people in Europe that are of that persuasion are suddenly thinking that baking cakes for people may not be quite so, or not baking cakes for people may not be quite so bad as being thrown off a roof after all. It's kind of interesting.
I mean, yeah, I would imagine so. And this is something that I think a lot of us have. Our initial reaction is, duh. I mean, you don't get a cake baked. So big deal. You have the opportunity to go somewhere else. And by the way, no one wants to kill you for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's one of the things that I've been arguing about this whole time is, so what? So somebody is diametrically opposed based on their religious beliefs to baking you a cake. I even saw a story when all this came out that there was a baker who was even willing to bake the cake and give them the cake toppers and just be like, look, I don't want to be the one to assemble the cake. And that still wasn't good enough. Let the market decide. Instead of suing all these people into oblivion, whatever the case may be, if there's a market for a gay wedding cake maker, then somebody who is gay needs to start baking wedding cakes. Why not? I mean, that's the part of this that I've never understood. Free market could solve almost every single problem that we have, except we've gotten into the mindset that we have to have government involvement and entanglement to make things better. Government involvement and entanglement hasn't made things better. If anything, it's made it worse. Let's not forget, we're looking at education now. This is 2017? When was the National Education Association founded? Was during the Carter years. What's happened to our education system within the last 40 years? It's falling apart. Now you tell me, has the National Education Association helped education or has it hindered education? Because if you go back and you look at some of the curriculums that were being offered in schools between between basically the major founding of schools because before they were basically just, the church house was used as a schoolhouse during the weekdays, and then it was the church house on Sundays. But when they actually started forming and founding real schools, I mean, I can go back and I can look at schools here in the 1900s that were teaching people Latin. Freshman year, Latin was a required course. And we're talking about how the government has made our education system better. Now, I'm not saying Latin should still be required, but Latin, I can speak some Latin because my grandfather insisted on it. But Latin is a hard-ass language to learn. You have to be really smart to make sense of it. So you tell me, would you rather people learn to speak in Latin or emoji?
Yeah, I Latin or emoji. No, it's true. Have you ever seen? There are tests available on the internet that are actually direct tests from people from 8th grade in 1886 and things. I mean, things that you look at it and you go, shoot, I don't even know if I can do this. And I'm intelligent. I pay attention to history. I read a lot. I pay attention. I did well in school. And you look at that test and you go, holy cow! I don't. Can I use my book, please? And I do think that it's just diminished, which is going to happen when you have when you have mandates coming from someplace far, far away from your actual elementary school, and when they are required to abide by certain policies and standards that are made, that kind of blanketly. It's just not the ideal situation for education. I think anything, personally to me, is better left out of the hands of government, if at all possible, save a few key things that are explicitly mentioned in the Constitution. So I'm always going to be a fan of, I'm always going to be able to say, no, I don't think government made that better. Pretty much. I haven't come across very many situations where I could honestly say, you know what? And it's a good thing the government got involved. I don't see it hardly at all.
I can't really think of one. I mean,
I know that I went through this with some people sometime last year, and we did come up with a couple situations after brainstorming for a long time. But that had more to do with like, I think one of the situations was like a worker safety thing. There was, just some very extreme fringe stuff, though, not overhaul of like the entire education system, the healthcare system, the blah, blah, any of those kinds of things that just starts to get, messy.
Well,
bureaucratic.
Well, actually, we've been talking about it long enough. I thought of something. One thing that I think the government has done well would be the interstate. Other than that, I can't really think of too much.
But I guess to a certain extent, and maybe that was necessary, kind of like it's necessary for, help with borders and ports and things like that. So maybe you can look at it that way as kind of being part of the security, and the efficiency of the country, and really for our own good and the interstate connection there. But I do know that maybe part of the reason that works so well is that the funding comes from the federal government, but the states are actually left to implement it.
And that is probably one of the things that, or one of the reasons why it works so well. Now, here's a bit of trivia about our highways. Do you know what inspired our highway system?
Why don't you tell me?
The Autobahn in Germany during, I believe it was actually World War II. They had noticed that there was an interconnected highway system in Germany that was actually also able to be used to quickly move troops and artillery and aircraft and everything else. That's why, if you'll notice, anytime you're on the highway, you'll get to a certain point where there's always a mile-long stretch that is straight, level, and flat. In emergency situations, the federal government can close down these highways and actually use those mile-long sections as airstrips.
Okay, interesante.
I didn't know if you actually knew that or not. I wasn't trying to be funny.
I know. No. I do know part of that. I don't think I knew about the airstrip part, but maybe not that it was specifically done that way. I know that people have said, or I know that it's been said that it could be used as such. I didn't know that it was designed that way. They've even been useful, not so much for that purpose, but for emergency plane landings, where they've been able to tell people when there's been a plane that said something wrong, and they've been able to radio down, and the cops have been able to close off the highway so that a plane could make a landing instead of crashing because they can't make it to an airport. So, big, wide stretches of roadway seems to be a good thing. And so I guess when you're looking at it from those, especially looking at it from the perspective of Germany and being able to move troops, and of course they're more likely to be invaded and were than we are, or to need to be able to use the Autobahn for military purposes, just with the history of Europe. But for that reason, if you look at it through that lens, absolutely you can tie that to national security. So, cool.
All right, so what else do you want to talk about tonight? It's not like there's any shortage. We have audio from Donald Trump ripping the UN a new one, or as I like to say, grabbing the UN by the beep. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. I actually have probably enjoyed that a little more than I should. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, no, I absolutely did. It's one of the, and all the stupid whiners about it. It's probably the only time I've heard him speak and been like, hell yeah. Oh my God. Well, first of all, it wasn't to a lot of people in Europe and to people at the UN, it was political. To me, it was not really political in a way that we think of it now as in politically divisive left or right. The left has picked apart parts of it, but ultimately it was pretty much all of us together pro-America. And not just pro-America, like I want to stuff America in your face, but I want to stand up for the values and the principles of America in a way in which no president has had the balls to do so with the UN in a long time, at least not to this extent. So it was it made me want to cheer a little bit, I have to say.
Yeah, honestly, like I said, I have not always been a fan. I really have not. But I have to say, this was one of the things that I liked. One of the things, and we actually talked about this. I don't remember where it was, but I know I've had this conversation. I forgot. It was G Show's last night. This was one of the things that honestly, and I'm going to wait until after the clip to say what I was going to say because I don't want to influence anybody, but I want you to hear this and then tell me what you think.
We do not expect diverse countries to share the same cultures, traditions, or even systems of government, but we do expect all nations to uphold these two core sovereign duties: to respect the interests of their own people and the rights of every other sovereign nation. This is the beautiful vision of this institution, and this is the foundation for cooperation and success. Strong sovereign nations let diverse countries with different values, different cultures, and different dreams not just coexist, but work side by side on the basis of mutual respect.
All right, hang on just a second. I got sidelined by JD being silly on Twitter. I had to raise some of the levels because it seemed like the clip wasn't playing very well, and then I realized he was done talking, but I was reading something JD just posted, and I was glad my mic was muted because I just about laughed out loud on the air. It was kind of funny. All right, so anyway, okay, so now that I've got myself semi-composed again, I want to actually hear your thoughts first because people have heard mine on this clip already.
Well, I mean, I don't really know what you're looking for. Do I agree with it?
Well, no, actually,
I mean,
let me just go ahead and give you my perspective real quick because I did kind of blindside you. So what I thought was interesting is if you listen to some of the things that he said in there, it's almost a complete reversal of a lot of our foreign policy for the last 40 years. Because he basically said, we want you guys to run your country and you let us run our country. Not, we're going to keep sticking our nose in the middle of your business. And what struck me about that is it almost sounded like something that a libertarian president would say. We expect you to be diverse. We don't expect you to do things the same way that we do things. We just want you to let us be us so you can be you. It sounded remarkably libertarian to me.
Yeah, but I think it's sad that it does sound libertarian to us at this point, because I think that that's really pretty fundamentally modern or fundamentally American, but also modernly democratic. And instead, now that has to be some sort of weird libertarian view. You see what I'm saying? Like, this shouldn't be something that should be like, whoa, the president of the United States is saying that. That should be something that we always say, because it is that's how we're founded. That is something that is kind of a core belief here about sovereign nations, the same way that it is about, some of the autonomy of our states. So I do know where I saw some people start to pick this apart, where they, because of his references to North Korea and because of his stance on what they think is the Muslim ban and all of these things, that, he's being hypocritical here. And I would say, no, that's untrue. He is not being hypocritical when it comes to the people, first of all, members of the UN, and how you should be able to allow people to operate sovereignly despite different cultures and despite different beliefs within reason. We're not talking about that you have to tolerate someone who says, I want to blow up this country, or I want to build a nuclear program that the entire world has said, no, that's not okay. You can't do that because of your history and because of your refusal to be a cooperating member and respectful member of the global community. So I think it's kind of false logic for them to try to catch him in some sort of hypocrisy here, because he also speaks out against North Korea and say, well, you said people should be sovereign and that we should be able to disagree and respect their, beliefs, but you're not doing it with North Korea. Well, I mean, excuse me if I don't see it the same, and I don't care to hear you defend the Norks.
Well, the interesting thing, and I actually covered this on last night's show, anybody that starts talking to me about North Korea, I point out that if it wasn't for Bill Clinton, we wouldn't be in the situation we are with North Korea right now, and they should probably just sit down and shut up. They don't usually like that. But.
One of the main things from the speech that I thought was a pretty silly criticism, and people just got up in arms about, do I think it was great that he said Rocket Man, that's what he called Kim Jong-un? No. Do I think it was the end of the world? Absolutely not. And do I even think it really needs that much chastising? Not really, but they needed something. But there were several things said like this, and this is just one, and this is Susan Glasser, who wrote, President just threatened to totally destroy another country and mocked its leader at UN. Take a moment to reflect on that. And all of these people start responding about how psychotic he is and how awful this is. And it's just so embarrassing and it's disrespectful. And you just can't do that about another world leader. So my thoughts were, you know what? You're right. Egregious human rights violator and murderous dictator who executed his own family, by the way, the family who helped put him in power and taught him everything new since he had to elevate through the ranks very, very quickly with the death of his father, and whose own brother wanted to take over from him, and they helped him successfully succeed his father instead of his older brother, and then turns around and kills those people, his uncle's family and several generations down. Has them all executed. Yeah, he's the one who deserves decorum and respect from world leaders. Like, please forgive me if I do not give a crap what you think Kim Jong-un deserves. He is a nut job.
So lonely.
Sorry, you know the rules. You said the name, you get the sound effect.
I need to watch that movie again. Don't get me wrong. I've seen it plenty of times. Again. I'm saying.
Yeah, I know.
Again.
I think I've watched it probably a bazillion times.
Oh, America. So I think that was one of those where I went, oh man, because even other like Democrats and leftists were going, don't talk about respecting. Don't use that word. At least say. That was childish of him to say, or, hey, I don't really think it's responsible to go out there and talk about destroying a country, which, by the way, was also a hypothetical. If they're going to do this, as we will destroy them. It wasn't, I want to go destroy them right now. But there were even, other Democrats and even some leftists I didn't expect it from that were going, criticize it in a different way, but don't act like this is just so beyond the pale to, mock or criticize or even threaten North Korea after everything that they have done, threatened, pulled, and behaved like on the world stage, in the way in which they treat their own citizens. It's absolutely atrocious what's happening in that country. And I'm sorry, I don't care if we abandon pretenses at the UN, on the floor of the UN. So just to keep up some sort of politeness with him at the UN, that's just crap. And this is part of what, frustrated presidents before about the UN, about having to keep up these polite niceties in regards to dictators and other, violent and harmful regimes that, it's just ridiculous to expect that from your members. It happened with George Bush with some of the things in Africa, particularly Darfur, when he was like, why can't we call this genocide? Oh, because then we'd have to do something and you don't want to, and you're afraid of disturbing other things in the region that you benefit from. It's just in a long line of things. And it was finally a president said, I don't give a crap. I don't give a crap, and I'm going to call them on it, and I'm going to dare them to do something.
Well, just food for thought. The next time you get a liberal that's all mad because Donald Trump threatened to destroy North Korea, don't forget Barack Obama threatened to do it first. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Giggity, 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 let's have sex.
That was not the button I was looking for. We'll be right back. Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
folks, welcome back. We are live, and because of the fact that we were on a bit of a tear and having fun, and I was accidentally hitting wrong buttons on the soundboard, we are almost literally out of time. Yes, Ron, I said literally, leave me alone. All right, so anyway, sorry, we're having some fun tonight. I just have to say this. This was something that I said on air last night, but it's still worse because now we can do it under hashtag Thursday Thoughts. For those of you that tuned in at the very beginning of the show, you have heard that something that is absolutely, or could be, I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket yet, but something that could be absolutely amazing has actually presented itself as an opportunity to me. And I just want to say this because this comes from personal experience. This isn't me bragging. This isn't me boasting. And it's the same thing I said last night on the air on America Off the Rails. And it was something that honestly popped into my head yesterday. And I don't know if it was an angel on my shoulder or what, but it was, never stop chasing your dreams, because a dream never caught is still far better than a dream never sought. And I don't know where it came from. I don't know if, and I'm not trying to steal it if somebody else has said it. Maybe I've heard it and I just remember it. But it hit me yesterday, and it just, everything that I've been pushing through and everything that I've done for the last decade, it seems like it's all finally starting to kind of go in the right direction all at once for once, instead of part of it working and some of it's not. So, and it just, I don't know. And who knows? I mean, it could all blow up in my face tomorrow. But for right now, I'm just saying, no matter what happens, I kept pushing, and that's what you've got to do. And the reason I bring this up is because that seems to be something that we've lost in this country. Everybody thinks the government has to be the one to go out and fix their problems for them. Everything that I've done, everything that I've built, it wasn't because the government told me that I needed to do it. Everybody, even my wife, who still loves me and supports me, but she thinks I'm absolutely insane because I spend so much of my free time doing something that makes me almost nothing. But she still loves me, and she knows that it's a dream of mine, and she wants to watch me chase it and see what happens. But even she thought I was crazy when all of this started. The guys that I talked about this with years ago, when it all started on Blog Talk Radio, looked at me like I was crazy, and I actually am going to be a part-time contributor on a local radio station here, on top of being nationally syndicated and having 3 podcasts on iHeartRadio. So whatever your dreams are, unless they're creepy, and if they are, keep them to yourself, please don't stop chasing them.
Absolutely. I mean, and it doesn't matter what it is. Things happen for people all the time. And even, it's easy to point at the celebrity aspect, or, businesses that you've got people that tried and failed 4 and 5 times, and lost everything. And then suddenly it takes the one right thing at the right time with the right people, and the right idea even maybe. And suddenly, all of that was worth it because there becomes some success. And success doesn't always have to be measured in financial success either. Sometimes there's success in so many other levels that contribute to a very gratifying feeling and a sense of self-worth. So the dreams are worth chasing.
All right, so anything else you want to hit on? Because I know we still got lots of stuff going on in the news. We're actually, because we got a late start, we've got about 5 minutes left.
Oh my gosh. Where, what, who, how, why? I don't know. There's so much stuff. Everything is crazy, and the continued Hillary stuff and all of her blame game that just seems never ending is just at this point, to me, it's just so sad and pathetic.
Yeah, well, I think part of it, I think the thing that is still sticking with me, I'm really starting to think but Hillary might outlast it, but it was Bush's fault.
It might. I just, the digs at women who didn't vote for her, the insinuation that women, while she's supposed to be someone that champions women and is, believes that they are powerful and smart and independent and all of these things, is also on the other side saying, oh, but wait, not really, because you have to vote a certain way in order to be powerful, smart, and independent. So women still really haven't progressed that far, because if you're not voting, if you didn't vote for me and you're not voting for Democrats, then you are still, under the thumb of a man, and you are willingly being there, and you are kind of dumb, blind, and ignorant. And it's just so insulting. And there are so many women that are sick of it. And I've talked to a lot of women that are, moderates, and even that lean left, that vote Democrat typically, that are completely over it. They are sick of that kind of trash game against women. And it's insulting. And it's the last thing that will help, that will really help women. It hurts us. It makes us seem as easily manipulated and weak, and just as much as they say that the patriarchy thinks about us, they're giving into it and giving them way too much credit. It's absurd.
Hey, where are the white women at?
That sums up the whole reason Hillary Clinton thinks she lost.
Well, this white woman right here thought she was full of it, and a lying liar who lies, and just overall an unlikable person to boot. So even take away all the scandals and take away her kind of sordid political history, and I still don't think that she presented enough of an example and a reason, and enough reasons to vote for her for president of the United States. She is not someone that, like I said, even if you take away some of those marks against her, just her on her face and her ideas don't win. They didn't win. They haven't won twice now. So
let me give you a 1-second example of why Hillary Clinton is a 2-time loser for president. That's pretty much it. Not to mention the fact that, now we have all these stories coming out about the fact that the people that were managing her campaign wouldn't listen to the guy that actually won the presidency twice. Hillary had this grand idea that she was going to be able to swoop in, and she was going to campaign in all the places where not only did they need to make sure that they stayed secure, but they also needed to grab Senate seats. So what she was doing was going everywhere that because she thought she had it locked up. In her head, this was her time. Nobody was going to take this away from her. It was already a done deal. And why wouldn't she think that? Let's not forget the other side of this equation that nobody's talking about. They got the exact candidate they wanted. Everything that we can find, thanks to her unsecured server, pointed out that they were frothing at the mouth to get to do this against Donald Trump. So once she got the candidate she was looking for, she thought she had it sewn up. So she thought she was going to be able to go out and campaign in places where they needed to gain Senate seats because she thought she had the presidency won. And she thought wrong. And I remember, and I've heard this even before, but I've actually heard people openly talking about it now. Before it was just kind of a whisper. Bill Clinton was pissed. He's like, why in the hell do you have my wife here? In all places, instead of being where she needs to be, which is here, here, and here. And they told him to stuff it. Now, I don't know if they would have won, if they would have listened to him, but why would you not? Unless it was because Hillary Clinton, I mean, I honestly, I really don't think those two like each other. I'm not even going to lie. I think they got together for political reasons, and I think that's one reason why. I mean, because I'm pretty sure, her and Uma have a little something going on, and I think the main reason Clinton's pissed is because now he doesn't have access to interns again like he was hoping. The only thing that I am sad about the reason that Hillary Clinton is not president is I'm never going to be able to use the phrase first man whore when referring to Bill Clinton, because I was really looking forward to that.
Well, I am not sad that she was denied. I wish we had a different choice on the other side, but it is what it is. And at the end of the day, more people, that they are both polarizing figures, and more people, at least proportionally as far as the Electoral College goes, could stomach him more than they could stomach her, and that's all there is to it.
All right, so on the way out, why don't you remind folks where it is that they can hang out with you when you're not on the air hanging out with me?
Yeah, come find me on Twitter at jhomestead, JR Homestead on Facebook, and check out misfitspolitics.com. And that article that I referenced earlier by Chad Felix Green is over there under the Misfits Migrants section, where he is a regular contributor.
And I, of course, am Rick Robinson. You can follow along with me under the new at Radio Host Rick. You can also, if you please, go follow both stations, KOKCRadio.com and KLRNradio.com. You can also shoot me an email at rick@KLRNradio.com. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, I'm probably going to start doing this a little more often. You can also go follow the national syndication group that I'm through. It's at CRN Digital. And I'll figure out what the other two, I know they have Twitters, but I haven't been giving them out, so I'm going to start fixing that. Because, I got to thinking about it the other day. There's still, there's days when you can find America Off the Rails and a couple of the shows that we do 3, 4, 5 times a day. That just still kind of amazes me. But anyway, we are out of time. I will be back here in just a second, but we will not be doing a live broadcast tonight. I was actually supposed to have my guest and friend of the show, Del Bellis, on with us this evening because I was planning on running his interview. I am actually going to be rerunning the one that we previously recorded, only because at least that way I'm still doing something to help push someone who is a client and in some ways I consider a friend of the show. But at this point, we are going to be done for the night. We'll be back with you before you know it. It's not going to be before we know it. But also, due to scheduling conflicts, football, and a million other things going on in real life, Robinson and Wright will also be a rerun tomorrow night. So we'll be back with you live next week. But we'll see you guys when we see you. Hope everybody has a great weekend. And if you're in the Oklahoma City area and you haven't yet, this is pretty much one of the last chances to hit the fair. So might want to get that done while it's still here. Although I've heard mixed reviews, but we're going on Saturday, so I guess I'll find out firsthand. Take care, folks. Maybe. There we go.